Imagine you're managing the budget for a local sports league. You are staring down this chaotic spreadsheet of equipment needs, changing prices, multiple teams. It's a mess. Now, you could calculate every single item one by one, line by line, or you could use a mathematical tool that processes all of that data simultaneously. Okay, let's dive right into this. We are talking about matrices.
Take our real-world problem here. We've got two soccer teams. The Wildcats, they need 6 goals, 30 balls, and 14 jerseys. The Mudcats need 10 goals, 24 balls, and 20 jerseys. And we know our cost, right? A goal is $300, a ball is $10, and a jersey runs $30. If you try to calculate the total budget for each team using standard algebra, it's going to take a lot of messy, tedious equations. But what if we could organize all this data to just solve it in one elegant step?
Well, by the end of this lecture, you will understand exactly what a matrix is, the fundamental rules for adding and multiplying them, and exactly how to apply those rules to effortlessly solve our soccer budget dilemma. We're basically going to turn that chaotic list of needs and prices into a streamlined mathematical machine. So, first things first, let's get our definition straight. A matrix is simply a rectangular array of numbers aligned in horizontal rows and vertical columns. And really, that's it. It's just a way to organize complex data by stripping away all the distracting variables in text, leaving you with pure, actionable numbers. And each individual number inside? We just call that an entry or an element. Now, what's really interesting is how we map this data. We always describe a matrix by its size, specifically its dimensions. And the rule is rows first, then columns. If it has m rows and n columns, it's an m by n matrix. This also tells us how to pinpoint a specific entry. Take the element labeled A sub 3, 1. The first number is always the row, the second is the column. So A sub 3, 1 lives perfectly in row 3, column 1. Always remember the motion. Dive across the row, then drop down the column. All right, let's pause for a quick check. Before we even look at the actual math, just think about the shapes for a second. Based on how structured a matrix is, do you think we can add a 2x3 matrix and a 3x3 matrix together? Just try to picture those two rectangles in your head. The answer is a hard no. And this brings us to the absolute golden rule of matrix addition and subtraction. The dimensions must match perfectly. A 3x3 plus a 3x3, perfect, go for it. But a 2x3 plus a 3x3 is physically impossible. Why? Because you add matrices by matching up their corresponding entries. If the shapes don't match, you're going to have numbers left over without a partner. And in matrix addition, nobody gets left behind. So let's see how this builds into an actual calculation. We have two 2x2 matrices, matrix A and matrix B. Because their dimensions match perfectly, we're good to add them. We just take the entry in row 1, column 1 of matrix A, which is 4, and add it to row 1, column 1 of matrix B, which is 5. 4 plus 5 is 9. Then we just move to the right. 1 plus 9 is 10. Drop down to the second row, 3 plus 0 is 3, and 2 plus 7 is 9. It's beautifully simple and highly organized. But you know, data isn't always about combining two completely separate lists. Sometimes you just need to scale things up. Imagine a university needs to expand its computer labs because enrollment went up. They don't want to go back and recount everything. They just know they need exactly 15% more of absolutely everything they currently have. We can organize this current lab inventory really neatly into a 2x3 matrix. Lab A is row 1, holding 15 computers, 16 tables, and 16 chairs. Lab B is row 2, with 27 computers, 34 tables, and 34 chairs. We need to boost this entire inventory by 15% across the board. To increase by 15% mathematically, we use what's called a scalar. A scalar is simply a real number quantity, so in this case, 0.15. And scalar multiplication is incredibly straightforward. You just act like you're distributing this number. You multiply every single entry inside that university lab matrix by this one scalar number. So, let's look at the math in action. When we multiply 15 by 0.15, we get 2.25. 16 times 0.15 is 2.4, and so on. Now, wait, this is important. Let's connect this back to real life for a second. You obviously cannot buy 0.25 of a computer or 0.4 of a table, so we naturally round these values up to the nearest whole integer. 2.25 becomes 3. 2.4 becomes 3. We then add this new matrix of rounded, required equipment back to our original inventory matrix. And there you go.
We have our final, perfectly scaled numbers for the new semester.
Now, if addition and scalar multiplication are that easy, you're probably feeling pretty confident right now. But here is a very common student roadblock. You might be asking, why is multiplying two entirely separate matrices together notoriously complicated? Like, why don't we just multiply corresponding entries, exactly like we did with addition? It's a completely valid question.
Well, the reason is that matrix multiplication is literally designed to solve systems of linear equations, which means we are actually multiplying rows of variables by columns of coefficients. Because of this, we have a very strict dimension rule. If matrix A is an m by r matrix and matrix B is an r by n matrix, you can only multiply them if those inner r dimensions match perfectly. The number of columns in the first matrix must equal the number of rows in the second. If they match, they essentially melt away, and your new answer matrix takes the shape of the outer numbers, an m by n matrix.
Okay, let's actually break down how this works into 3 safe, easy-to-follow steps. Think of it like a dive. Step 1, you take the entire first horizontal row of your first matrix. Step 2, you take the entire first vertical column of your second matrix. Step 3, you dive the row down the column. You multiply the first entries together, then the second entries together, then the third, and finally, you add all those separate products up into one single number. Let's walk through this process step by step so you can see exactly how it functions. We're multiplying a 2 by 3 matrix by a 3 by 2 matrix. The inner threes match perfectly, so our answer is going to be a 2 by 2 matrix. Let's find just the very first entry in the top left. We take row 1 of the first matrix, which is -1, 2, and 3. We dive it down column 1 of the second matrix, which is 5, -1, and 2. Now we multiply the pairs. -1 times 5 is -5. 2 times -1 is -2. 3 times 2 is 6. Finally, we add those up. -5 plus -2 plus 6 equals -1. And boom, that -1 becomes the very first entry of our new product matrix.
Before we solve our grand soccer problem, though, I need to give you a massive retention warning. In regular math, 3 times 4 is the exact same as 4 times 3, right? But in matrix multiplication, order is everything. Matrix A times matrix B is absolutely not the same as matrix B times matrix A. In fact, if you flip them, the inner dimensions might not even match anymore, making the multiplication entirely impossible. So remember, matrix multiplication is not commutative.
All right, let's bring this all together and solve that real-world dilemma from our first 30 seconds. We have our 2 by 3 matrix representing the equipment needs for the Wildcats and Mudcats. We multiply that by our 3 by 1 matrix representing the costs of a goal, a ball, and a jersey. The inner dimensions, the threes, match perfectly. This means our answer will be a 2 by 1 matrix. Let's dive the Wildcats row down the cost column. 6 goals times $300, plus 30 balls times $10, plus 14 jerseys times $30. Add those up, and the Wildcats' budget is exactly $2,520. We do the exact same thing for the Mudcats row down the cost column, and we get $3,840. Look at that! We instantly generated our final budget matrix without breaking a single sweat over algebraic equations. Let's rapidly summarize the 4 core skills you've just mastered. First, matrices organize complex data efficiently using rows and columns. Second, to add or subtract, the overall dimensions must match exactly. Third, to scale up, you just distribute a single scalar number to every entry. And fourth, to multiply 2 matrices together, those inner dimensions must match, and you dive the rows of the first down the columns of the second. You now have an incredibly powerful new mathematical tool in your belt. We've proven we can add, subtract, scale, and multiply these arrays of data. But here's a provocative thought to leave you with. In standard algebra, if we want to isolate a variable, we divide, right? But in the world of matrices, traditional division doesn't actually exist. So if we can't divide them, how are we supposed to use them to solve complex, multivariable systems of equations? Well, that requires a little mathematical magic called inverse.